As it is mentioned number of times on this particular subject, it is the greed of the person that actually creates all the troubles in the life.
Welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, a podcast series by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. I am Rajesh Joshi, and today we are excited to speak with a true expert in human resources and organizational transformation. With over 30 years of experience, he has been a driving force behind comprehensive HR strategies and leadership development across various industries. Currently serving as the founder of Vikalp Business Solutions, it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Aniruddha Panchal. Mr. Panchal, welcome to the podcast and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Rajesh. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you very much.
Oh, the pleasure is all ours, sir. To kickstart this discussion, your career spans over 3 decades, marked by significant contributions in HR and organizational transformation. What inspired you to move from engineering to HR? And how did your early experiences shape your passion for developing talent?
Okay. I've been a people's person right from my childhood, actually. So while I was at school, I was finding myself on the stage most of the time, organizing events and things like that. And when I got into engineering, I had a vision to be the head of engineering of a company. But as, fate would have it, my company was going through some turbulent times. They needed to go through a business renewal program. It was total turnaround. And then, that's when my management invited me to be the coordinator of that program. Okay. Being a people's person, I was in touch with everyone within the company, in spite of being in the engineering function, particularly utilities. So I had to be in touch with all. And then I was, introduced to 2 international consultants, on the HR front and also on the business front. And then rest is history. Those consultants recommended me that you should start an HR function with Aniruddha. And it was, with God's grace and yes, today.
Okay, as they...
Yes, very much. I think, the HR journey it had to happen to me. It has been really, really enriching and lots of good stories to, remember on my journey.
Oh, I'm sure. 100% sure. Basically, interacting with people, and as you rightly said, being a people's person, there is a story in each one of the individuals you must have met. Which actually brings me to the second question. HR, I believe, is more than just managing people. It is about driving culture. How do you help organizations build a strong, positive workplace culture through your HR strategies? And how do you ensure that this culture is maintained across all levels of the company?
The basic part of human nature is to yearn to achieve, to do something better than before, to contribute to the organization. I don't believe that people come with, their own personal, agendas. I still believe that all people, I think, I have tried to tap this urge of people and, create a system where, the top management is totally aligned with the employees, where both the organizations and employees' interests are, catered to. So culture, according to me, is the do's and don'ts in an organization. That's how I describe it. This works in an organization, this doesn't work in an organization. So when the culture percolates from the top, and when they see the top management behaving as per the culture, it is very easy to drive the whole culture in the organization. What I call this as total employee or total alignment program, where right from the vision, mission, all the actions within the company, we may be a very simple meeting. It has, the seeds of collaboration, the seeds of contributing in a positive way. When this happens, I believe the whole organization is set on the progress path.
Right. Yeah. And it is actually interesting, as you rightly said, that, nobody comes in with his own agenda. The very need for a human being to be a part of something, to be able to say that, well, I was in this team, who created this. I think if one is able to actually trigger that need, I think the organizational culture and the productivity, etc., everything else then falls in place. Please correct me.
Very much, Rajesh. I think, this I have experienced. that when the organization takes genuine interest in the development of an employee, I think it is reciprocated multifolds, let me tell you. And I've experienced this.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
And I've experienced this in my organization, the recent organizations where, we used to have a coordination meeting where the culture was just like, I don't want, managing director, you try to implement this culture of, working together, collaborating together. And if we have issues, let's solve it together. Rather than, there are one-on-one sessions with the MD and one, complaining about the other department. No, that wasn't on. We all are together because we are a cohesive force working towards the, goals of the organization. So I think that was a wonderful experience over there.
Right, which actually leads one to believe, which is actually true in a sense, that businesses don't create value. People who run the businesses, they actually do create this value. Given your expertise in human resource management while building a high caliber team to fulfill crucial business objectives, what qualities and skills do you look out for in potential candidates? This, I believe, is going to be an answer for the millennium, because everybody is obviously poised to listen to this particular answer.
Yes, Rajesh, it's a very interesting question, very relevant question, I would say. So, when I look at the potential candidates, one is the potential candidate's ability to think on his feet, and the second one is, the orientation to make things happen for the organization. When these two things are available, domain knowledge is important. I do not deny that. But if we hire a person with the right orientation, then that person will acquire all the necessary skills that are required for the job. That's my
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's very very briefly, but very beautifully said, sir. Uh, Largely, people do worry about acquiring some sort of a mastery in the domain, but generally forget to look at the other parts. Where are they, flexible enough to understand how the company operates and then mold yourself accordingly? Which I believe you have very rightly said. Are they able to think on feet? Are they able to take initiatives? Do they have the drive? I mean, you could be the master of everything, but if you don't have the right intention or the drive or the energy, then it doesn't mean anything at all to the organization. Absolutely rightly said, sir. Yeah. So, sir, in your opinion, how will a strong foundation in ESG empower HR leaders to navigate future challenges in an ever evolving corporate landscape?
I think, Rajesh, the future is all about sustainability. We are already seeing the effects of climate change. It's like it's training even today in my case. I think the days, maybe 30, 40 years back, I still remember, these were the days when there was literally, the temperature around between 15 and 20 degrees. And the kind of humidity that we are facing is, it's really unbearable. And I remember my grandmother 40 years back used to tell me that, Aniruddha, time will come when water will be available in packets. And today is the reality, actually. We never used to think that water could be packed and sold. So I think sustainability is the key to, I think we have a big moral responsibility to leave a livable world for our children. It's very, very important, actually. Way back, I still remember in 2002, I remember I wrote a poem on environment where, the whole mode was that I made it through small kids, they were put in front of the corporate people and requesting them, देखे हमारे लिए, हम, एक जीने लायक दुनिया छोड़ के जाना हमारे लिए, kind of. And that was very, very impactful, actually. Human resource have a pivotal role to play, right from the time we hire people. We need to see that, yes, they are not too much greedy of, achievements, that they start, tweaking the ethical principles and all that. Very, very important, actually. It's very difficult to measure ethics. But yes, when we go through a kind of an interview like this, let's say, we are able to identify what kind of orientation the person has. Absolutely. See, right? So more things, just to add one more thing, I remember that there was a time when the organization used to tell that, you just come with your hands and we'll take care of the rest. With hands, led to, you also come with your heads, we need your brains as well. Then going further, there now we don't only need your hands and head, we need your heart also. Okay. That's why all the human resource engagement theories and those things in may, if I were to tell you, not only hands, head, heart, but we want your soul at work actually. Like, one of my promoters used to tell me that, Aniruddha, you are going to lead HR. I want you to develop HR strategies in such a way that my people doesn't have to think of anything else but work. And it was such a profound effect on me that, yes, it's so beautifully shared, It's like when people come into the organization, they should only think of work. So it is that HR department used to take care of everything else, which was beyond work.
Right, right. So you give your 100%, and we will look after you in a manner that you don't have to worry about anything else.
Exactly. This addresses the S part of the ESG thing, actually. Okay. So when it comes to environment, I remember that, we have discussed environment, even before I knew about this concept actually. At one point in time, we decided, yes, we'll not have any plastic water bottles in the corporate office. So much so that we also considered, can we have matkas, stationed at various locations? Because, that's a good source of vitamin B12 as well. Okay. So these kind of novel things, we've been into and creating an awareness of the environment. Let's say we had targets of reducing papers. So, we used to actually count then how many, photocopy papers were indented literally. And of course, the governance part, I think if we weave in at the very inception, at the time of induction of employees, all these values, I think it will go a long way. Organization will have to put in less efforts to again recreate an ESG employee.
Right, right, absolutely. I would slightly like to dwell upon the poem that you wrote way back in 2002, and also about all those brilliant articles revolving around emotional intelligence and integrating spiritual perspectives into health, safety, and the environment.
Yes.
Keeping that in mind, how do you see the intersection of emotional wisdom, sustainability, spiritual well being shaping the future of leadership and organizational culture?
As it is mentioned number of times on this particular subject, it is the greed of the person that actually creates all the troubles in the life. It's only the greed actually. I would say in those aspects. So what I believe is, a sound soul will create a sound ecosystem around. Okay. See, many of us, understand the value of non-material things at the fag end of our life.
Right.
Okay. So I believe that if we start awakening people right from when they are really able to enjoy the world, it's like at the fag end, we are either in the bed or we are struggling to move around. But if this enlightenment happens, let's say at an age of 25, you can just imagine what kind of a life that person will be able to live further. It's like this, like when my child studied it at school, he had this subject of environment.
Okay.
Okay. They had, they used to run the environment awareness drive, cleaning up the campus drive and all that, how to reduce paper, how not to waste water and all sort of things actually. When thick and hacking at that level, I think a good amount of spiritual inputs at an early age, we go a long way to help person live a better life than what they are living right now. Okay.
Completely.
So, like in one of my article, I've mentioned about the 5 steps, 5 levels of sukh. Sukh is one word which cannot be described in English or maybe any other language. Sukh it is something which is inside out. It's like something that happens. Like if you are looking at the inner world, if the inner world is sound, the outer world will be sound. So right from the materialistic, happiness or sukh, and that's the journey that one is anyway traveling that journey. If you read all the scriptures, the human life is about, transcending, or rather getting higher and higher on the steps of this, what really makes you happy. So that's the reason why I feel that giving such inputs, giving these inputs on emotional savviness, will help people create a better environment at work. Not only that, they will, they will be less greedy, to be very, very straight. And they'll be happy with little so that they can contribute more to the world, or maybe for the generations to come. That's my answer.
Yes. This happy with little is a very big stage.
Rajesh, I still remember, in one of the ISTD conferences in Mumbai, this is Indian Society for Training and Development, where I spoke on people development. So they try to find out ways how to, but this is a high effort to result ratio. So rather promoted a different concept. Can we do something to, when a person is happier I'll give a very example, with having good possessions like cars and lavish bungalows and all that. But let's say I'm not able to sleep in the night. Okay. So these people going to resorts just to be with the nature and all that. So if we put people into the habit of enjoying the higher levels of happiness, they will leave the lower level of happiness, which is the material happiness. So this is to answer your question, that it is difficult that to be happy with little means little of materialism and more of the spiritualism.
Completely agree. Completely agree. Coming to the best part, which I believe all our young viewers are eagerly waiting. Considering your extensive experience, what advice would you offer aspiring HR professionals looking to drive meaningful change, and what essential skills and mindsets should they cultivate to thrive in today's evolving HR landscape, considering the technological advancements and a lot of job being redundant even in the HR spectrum?
See, HR profession or HR professionals are actually catalysts to change.
Right.
The world is changing. There are new paradigms. We seldom used to talk of ESG 20 years back. Now we are talking about it a lot. Earlier, human resource, or rather earlier it used to be called as a personnel department, which is more of, transactional, I would say. Today, I think we need to think transformational. We need to be more transformational than transactional, actually.
Right.
We need to develop a culture of collaboration more than competition. I'll explain more on this. It's like as HR people, we have this, events in the company like Rangoli competition and this competition during festive times.
Right.
Now, this is one thing which creates a culture of jealousy, creates a culture of envy, creates a culture of, one-upmanship and all that. Instead, if we promote a culture of collaboration, we call it celebration. We call it collaboration and not competition. I think it has. I have experimented on this. Let me give an example. In one of the competitions, there was 9 or 10 participants, 9 or 10 groups who have participated in a Rangoli competition. So I avoided getting a judge to, award first, second, third. I said, okay, all of you, give marks to each other. You can give marks to yourself. You give yourself 10 out of 10, but also, look at all the others and, give marks to them. And then the sum total, the average of all the marks is the winner or whatever you may say. Now, this also promotes a culture of mutual appreciation, which is really, really lagging in the industrial, Indian scenario per se.
Yeah.
So, along with mutual appreciation, we are getting out of the feel, the spirit of, we need the spirit of competition, but we don't need to compete. Spirit is important, but competition is not right for organization because it breeds in all the negative values. And this was a very successful experiment in my company, let me tell you. And it's like we want people to celebrate together, to collaborate together. It's like, from my engineering knowledge, I would say we need to reduce the impedance. Impedance is the internal resistance of an electrical motor. Okay. So to say, HR's job is to reduce the internal resistance of an organization so that the organization is efficient and effective.
Absolutely. I mean, lesser the conflict, the internal conflict, if I may say so. And many a times, through experience, one would able to actually relate that internal conflicts do not, are not immediately apparent. By the time the organization gets to know about it, it generally is very late, and it has already impacted a particular function or activity or something like that. And then there is a firefighting mode that the HR people have to really get into, either changing functions and repositioning and all of that stuff. I believe what you said here, that rather than collaborative attempts, if people would more people are actually getting into competitive attempts within the organization, those actually have a negative effect, and rather collaborative competition may then become the answer to avoid
It's
internal
like,
conflict.
why can't we succeed together? Why can't we progress together? Rather than I am getting, it's like I am a star employee and you are not a star employee. I think, can we be star departments, or can we become a star company? I'll give one metric. It's like, HR analytics has also come into picture in a big way, and it's very, very important. And more important is, what do we measure? See, normally people measure who are participative, and then find, they reward them, whatever.
Right.
I would prefer to also measure who are not participating. What is really stopping them to participate? And generally, this chunk is much, much larger than the people who are participating in any organizational process, any organ. If we address that, then it will go a long way to create a very cohesive organization. We need to address that.
Oh yes, very, very, very nicely said, sir. And I must really appreciate the fact that, yeah, I mean, you're also looking at that part of the crowd which is there to clap, maybe just because it's an exercise for them, and they don't have a choice. And that's really wonderful, sir. I'm sure all the upcoming, the budding HR professionals are definitely taking a leaf out of this experience. Mr. Panchal, it's 30 years on the block, and I'm 100% sure that there is much more to share. But unfortunately, for paucity of time, we are here at the last question of our discussion. As someone who has led organizational transformations across multiple sectors, how has your journey with Directors Institute enhanced your approach to leadership and governance? And what elements of the experience have been the most valuable to you?
Very honestly speaking, and I am speaking with a lot of happiness within me, that Directors Institute have opened the doors of the world for me, frankly. Okay. I could actually, I hail from a very small town, and I've been here most of my life. Actually, never been in the metros. Okay, it has actually opened up the world in the sense that I am now introduced to the real corporate world. What actually happens in the corporate world. Not only that, the contents that Director Institute have served us have, it's immense, full of knowledge, full of information, full of ideas to ponder on. And more importantly, the live sessions with the industry experts are very thought provoking, and it triggers critical thinking, which actually results into the development actually.
Right.
So it's like, it pumps in the optimism within me to, yes, make a difference to the life of the people around, which happens to be my personal mission.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. I mean, one can go on and on talking with you, sir. Then there's no two ways to it. I mean, there's so much wealth of knowledge and information and ideas and perspectives that you actually bring forth, and I'm sure all these would be so very valuable to any boardroom that you would participate in. I'm sure you must be participating in some, and that's really wonderful. It was indeed a superb and wonderful conversation. I greatly appreciate the thoughtful perspectives you've shared today, Mr. Panchal. Your dedication, obviously, to organizational transformation and leadership development truly sets you apart as a guiding force in the industry.
One of the major reasons for me to take an early retirement as an employee from a company is to come out and find this Vikalp business solution is primarily to be available to the MSMEs and make them aware of these ESG principles, because they would be the last people to implement these kind of things.
Right.
So, it is very important to, that I make these services available at an affordable cost to them, so that I am able to, work towards creating, national wealth, preserving national wealth, conserving national wealth. That's the whole idea.
Absolutely, sir. And I believe that's a fantastic thought and a great initiative. And we all wish you all the very best for your endeavor. And I'm sure that the contributions that you would make along with all these MSMEs and SMEs to start with, I am 100% sure that they are definitely going to find them very, 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 very valuable to take their businesses forward in the right direction. That's absolutely sure, sir. Sure. We thank you once again for your time and being a part of FaceTime with Leaders, sir, and wish you all the very best in your future endeavors.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rajesh. Thank you.
We look forward to sharing more inspiring stories and insights from remarkable leaders in our next session. Until then, keep upskilling and finding joy in your journey. This is Rajesh Joshi signing off. Thank you.